that ache you are carrying right now is not proof of how deep the love is. It is proof of how dysregulated your nervous system has become. And those are not the same thing, even though your brain has convinced you they are. Here is the myth that is keeping you stuck. You have been told that the pain of this connection means it is significant, that the suffering is sacred, that if it did not hurt this much, it would not be real. But that logic is the trap, not the truth, because by that measure, the most spiritually advanced relationship you could have would also be the most agonizing one. And that is not evolution. That is just a very sophisticated story. Your survival brain, built around a wound, it has not yet been allowed to heal. What is actually happening inside you is more specific than the phrase, "it is meant to be." And once you see the mechanism clearly, you stop worshiping the pain and start dismantling it. In 1954, two neuroscientists named James Olds and Peter Milner accidentally discovered something that changed everything we thought we understood about motivation and desire. They were implanting electrodes into rat brains to study pain avoidance. One electrode was misplaced by a fraction of a millimeter. Instead of landing in the pain center, it landed in the nucleus accumbens, the brain's primary dopamine reward hub. What happened next was not what they expected. The rats began pressing a lever to activate that electrode compulsively. They skipped food. They skipped sleep. Some pressed the lever thousands of times per hour until they physically collapsed. They were not seeking pleasure. They were seeking the anticipation of pleasure. The wanting itself had become the drug. Now, bring that into your current experience. The reason you cannot stop replaying the last conversation, the reason you scan their social media, looking for signals, the reason a single message from them can shift your entire emotional state for hours, is not because your souls are intertwined. It is because your nucleus accumbens has been conditioned to treat this specific person as the primary source of dopamine activation in your life. The wanting of them has become neurologically indistinguishable from needing them. And here is the critical detail that most people miss. Dopamine does not spike when you receive the reward. It spikes during the anticipation of an uncertain reward. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz demonstrated this across decades of research. Certainty, meaning a reward that comes every single time, stops producing dopamine almost entirely. But uncertainty, meaning a reward that comes sometimes and unpredictably, keeps the dopamine system firing at maximum intensity indefinitely. Which means the most neurologically addictive relationship pattern possible is not one where someone is consistently loving. It is one where someone is inconsistently loving. Present, then absent. Warm, then cold. Available, then gone. That pattern does not indicate a cosmic connection. That pattern indicates a variable reward schedule. And your brain, operating on ancient survival code, cannot tell the difference between the idea that this person is my spiritual counterpart and the reality that this person is the most unpredictable dopamine source in my environment. Now add one more layer. The polyvagal theory shows that when the nervous system has been through repeated cycles of connection and rupture with the same person, it begins to link that specific person's presence to its concept of safety, not because they are safe, but because the rupture and repair cycle train the body to associate their return with relief. And the body, once it associates someone with relief, will do almost anything to keep proximity to that person. This is not spiritual longing. This is a physiological pattern, and you deserve to know the difference. Now here is where the science meets the soul and where the conversation becomes specific to you. Jung described the psyche as containing not just the ego, but a vast architecture of unconscious material. Within that architecture lives what he called the complex. A complex is not a quirk or a preference. It is a cluster of charged emotional memory, organized around a core wound, often formed in early childhood, that operates autonomously beneath your awareness. The most common complex activated in this dynamic is the original abandonment imprint. It is the specific moment, usually before the age of 7, when a child's nervous system first concluded, "I am not enough to make the people I love stay." That conclusion does not stay in childhood. It travels with you. It embeds itself into the architecture of how you choose partners, how you interpret silences, and how you respond to withdrawal. And then one day, you meet someone who resonates at an unusually deep frequency. The connection feels like recognition, and it is recognition, just not in the way it is typically described. It is your unconscious